on starting a new role with the Indonesian national team. Just talk to me about your role as a technical advisor and how it came about, because wasn't it an old friend who is now the coach who recommended you?
Well, I think it's one of those cases that I remember reading that Patrick Kluivert was the new national team coach, and I read it in the Dutch media, and I remember thinking, okay, what's the thing here? Because I don't know why, I just was a bit surprised, and then I understood, of course, the history between the two countries, that it's quite a strong influence. Now I remember a lot of things from even when I was a little kid, being in my parents' home. The influence of, for example, Indonesian food in Holland, or even with my father and mother. Like a lot of things come in my head that I just never thought about. But then I start to understand a little bit better the whole project, the growth capacity. It's not just arriving, but it's also, if you do things in a very good strategic way, it's a huge population with a lot of passion, which when you want to improve, passion is rule number one, because then, you just know that everybody's going to give their 100%. And I believe that if we find the right strategy, it's a special project. So I kind of joined as a technical advisor, which means that whenever they need me and when there's games, then I'm here to help in whatever necessary way, always with the idea of improving the national team and the organization beside it, obviously. And also thinking maybe long term on to improve, the local kind of players and try to unite that with the players that are coming now in the national team.
Well, it's been a strategy that seems to be working, because obviously the team are in a good position to qualify for the World Cup, something that would have never have been dreamed of years ago. It could be a realistic opportunity for them to reach the World Cup finals. I want to talk a bit about that, because there's one thing reaching the World Cup and putting things in place to get to that stage. But what about if you are successful? How do you make sure that you then go to the finals and put in a good account of yourselves?
Well, I think it's a good question. It has to do with, of course, you have a short-term strategy, which is to qualify, then you have the midterm, and then you have a long-term. I think the best advice we can give ourselves is, let's think about the short term. Let's qualify first to do history for this country, and then after we'll think about the other things. But for me, it's one of those key moments. Tomorrow is a super important game, of course, against China, a country where I've been already 3 years working in two different clubs that I kind of know quite well, actually. So for me, it's also a double pleasure in a way that, I work for for Indonesia at this moment. But I always have, China's always been very good to me, always warm feelings. I always wish them the best. But tomorrow, of course, we want Indonesia to win. But for us, of course, I think from the outside, if you look, the chances, of course, you would always say it's difficult. But on the other hand, also, I think they did modify something that more teams from this area could qualify. So I think that's what we're all going for. And tomorrow, obviously, both for us, Indonesia, but also for China, it's a vital game. Tomorrow, a lot of things can be decided already for the next step or to stay behind. So it's really, it's going to be tough. And apart from this game, I always wish China all the best. But in this game, obviously, it's dispatch.
Obviously, in a fantastic position to maybe reach the World Cup finals. But if it doesn't happen, where does that leave the project? Will you still be as keen to continue going forward with it?
Well, I think from the clear signals we receive is from the federation, from Mr. Toir, and from everybody that works with him. You can feel that there's a strategy, there's a thought, there's not just two games. Yes, of course, the next two games are the most important of everything because it will define a World Cup or not. On the other hand, you can clearly see that they're really busy on the highest level of the country, that they're busy thinking about a strategy, not only for short term, but also for the medium and the long term. And so I think it's a question of time that things will go there. So I don't think anybody's looking short term in that aspect. Of course, in the like call it the first team or with the senior national team, of course, it's all about the coming games and to see if we can make that step that everybody here is dreaming of and people are super hopeful and enthusiastic for. But I think there is another view which really is trying to improve the local football in Indonesia in general in many different ways.
Jordy Cruyff, absolute pleasure, and thank you for joining us on Sports Scene. All the best with this project and everything going forward.
Likewise, and thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Natuurlijk ook heerlijk weer vandaag, dat helpt ook mee. Ja, ik denk gewoon een heel speciale evenement is.
Hoe is het voor jou zelf? Herken je een beetje in jezelf dat je het op dezelfde manier beleeft als jouw vader?
Nou, deze dag is ook voor mij speciaal. Niet alleen door wat we zien natuurlijk. Alle blijdschap met kinderen. Maar voor mij en ouders. Maar voor mij is het ook een dag dat ik aan mijn vader denk. Dan kan ik me herinneren hoe hij deze dagen was. Hoe hij met iedereen in gesprek ging. Hoe hij lachte. Hoe hij kon genieten van mensen die genieten. En dat hij dus geholpen heeft om een speciale dag te maken. Dus deze dag is voor mij ook veel herinneringen van dingen die ik met hem heb meegemaakt op zulke dagen.
Zo, je vader was zelf niet de grootste.
Is mijn vader was, maar ik zou zeggen het is alsof er nog een kind van hem was. Ja? Dus het was iets heel emotioneels, gebaseerd op zijn eigen ervaringen in Amerika. En toen hij zag wat sport kan helpen in een soort integratie of in een soort dat ze ook actief konden zijn. En dat was in het begin met het Down-syndroom bijvoorbeeld, daar begon het denk ik mee in Amerika. Maar ook daarna gewoon voor sociale gebeurtenissen, want iedereen heeft wel eens hulp nodig. En ook sport is toch beweging blijven. Je ziet het vandaag de dag al, de meeste bewegingen van die jonge mensen is met hun vingers achter een scherm. Ik denk dat hij daar heel veel moeite mee zou hebben. En ja, Foundation is voor hem gewoon, hoe kan ik mensen helpen? Op verschillende manieren die het echt nodig hebben. En ja, als je ziet hoe dat groeit en als je ziet hoe graag mensen willen helpen. Als je ziet dat zoveel spelers trots zijn, dat ze ambassadeurs kunnen zijn of een veldje openen. Ja, ik vind het geweldig. En met name denk ik dan ook aan, ik geloof een maandje terug, of een paar weken terug, opent Raúl. De legendarische van Real Madrid. Die opent in Madrid zo'n veldje en die is trots. En ik vind dat mooi, omdat het toch betekent dat de Foundation, natuurlijk is dat boven een clubkleur, of boven een badge of een embleem, of hoe je dat wil noemen. Maar het feit dat Raúl daar ook gewoon zo trots op was. En ik zeg Raúl omdat het de laatste maand is geweest, maar ook Casillas en andere spelers van andere ploegen waar je normaal gesproken een grote rivaliteit mee hebt.